What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at Gaius Julius Caesar. Now this character spotlight is going to be a little bit different than usual, just because the site I usually use is down and I had to go to a different site to take the pictures from, and they're just formatted a little bit differently, so I'm going to do things mostly in the same order, but some of them will be a little bit out of order. So anyway, as you guys can see here, his pictures are on the screen right now, and he's got some alright artwork. Not really a whole lot going on in this picture here, but whatever. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. So moving on here to his stats. So this is primarily the first difference in how I'm going to present this. So his stats at level 70, max stats anyway, are going to be 7,497 attack and 9,595 HP. So they're okay stats. He's really low on the attack stat, and his HP is pretty high. Like, you know, that's generally how sabers work, so that's fine. You can see his grail stats here. He barely cracks 10,000 attack, and his HP does go over 13,000. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend grailing this guy up. And then the main difference here is that his command cards are on the screen right now, so I'm going to talk about them right now, and then I'll talk about his Noble Phantasm later on. So he has 2 quick, 1 arts, and 2 buster. So you want to use him primarily in a quick or a buster team setup. And then you guys can also see some of his other stats, like his death resist, his noble charge attack, you know, his star generation, and things like that. I just took the screenshot of the picture exactly how it was. So there's some stats for you guys. So we're going to move on here. So his first skill, which will be available from the start, is going to be called Military Tactics B, and this will increase party's Noble Phantasm damage for 1 turn. So it starts at 9% at level 1, goes all the way up to 18% at level 10. It's a pretty solid thing. You know, Noble Phantasm buffs are always nice. So yeah, it's a pretty solid first skill. His second skill is going to unlock after the first ascension, and this will be called the Charisma C skill, and this will increase party's attack for 3 turns. So it's a pretty low attack boost, 8% at level 1, 16% at level 10, but it is an AoE attack boost. So that's really nice. He's got the general attack boost and a Noble Phantasm damage boost, so you can stack those up pretty well and do some really solid damage. And then his third and final skill is going to unlock after the third ascension, and this will be called Incitement EX, and this increases one ally's critical damage for 3 turns, but will reduce their defense by 20% for 3 turns. So this is pretty solid, honestly. 20% crit damage on level 1, goes up to 40% at level 10. The damage reduction, or the defense reduction, is 20% across the board, I believe. So generally speaking, it'll probably be worth it to use this, even though you got that 20% decrease in defense. The crit damage gain, especially if you're using it on quick teams, it'll probably be worth it to actually use this. And then this skill can actually be further upgraded by doing a strengthening quest, and then this will also increase their critical star generation for 3 turns, as opposed to everything else that it already did. So yeah, it's you know, it's a strengthening quest, which we don't have yet, but it's really nice. Like, at level 10, it's 100% star generation increase, which is insane. So yeah, he's got some really good skills. Definitely some very, very good skills. So now let's take a look at some of his passives. His first passive is Magic Resistance C, which increases his own resistance to debuff by 15%. His second passive is going to be called Riding B, which increases his own quick card performance by 8%. And his final passive will be called Divinity D, which increases his own damage by 125. So there you go, that's some passives. I'm probably not going to talk too much about the passives, I'll just show you what they are, because generally speaking they're just a pool of passives, and then different characters will each get, you know, their passives. I don't think there's too many actual unique passives, but if there is one, then I'll talk about it. But for this guy, it's just some of the basic passive skills. So moving on to his ascension materials here, he does need some gears, some pages, and some talons, so it's going to be quite a task to max ascend this guy. I don't know if I necessarily recommend it right off the bat, but if you are looking to ascend him, then this is what you need. The pages and the gears are not currently available, so you will have to wait on that or get them through special events. So moving on to his skill enhancements, he needs more gears, some horseshoes, some talons. Again, you're gonna have to wait to get these items, but this is what you need if you're trying to max this guy out. So moving on here to his bond and his craft essence. So at level 10 bond, you will unlock the holy crap, how do you pronounce this? I'm not even gonna try and pronounce this, but anyway, what it does is it will increase quick card performance of all allies by 15% while in the field. So it's the generic quick craft essence, but it is pretty good because it does play into his quick card setup. So next up here, we're going to talk about his Noble Phantasm, which is a quick Noble Phantasm, and it will deal damage to one enemy with a 2000% multiplier. And then on the overcharge effect, it will gain critical stars. So at level 5 Noble Phantasm, it'll gain 25 crit stars, which is really nice. He plays really well into crit teams. So yeah, that's a Noble Phantasm. So let's talk about some of the craft essences you can use on this guy. He's primarily going to be used in quick teams, so you know, Kaleidoscope is always nice to get that Noble Phantasm ready. And then you can use Grandeur for the 15% increase for quick card effectiveness, or you could use Imaginary Around for the 25% increase. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Get some pretty solid damage with this guy. Yeah, overall, he's a pretty solid character for 3-star. Definitely like him. I'll probably start leveling him up. He's actually a little bit better than I initially thought he was. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this character spotlight. Tomorrow I will be doing the final 3-star, I believe, which is going to be the prototype Cool Cullen. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to leave you guys here with Caesar's Noble Phantasm, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
私は来た。私は見た。ならば次は勝つだけのことを。黒ケアモース